Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ryan and Brian Talk Sports. Once again, it's presented by Pickup Sports and our new sponsor, Props Cash. As always, Ryan Props. How are you?
Doing good, man. How about yourself?
I was doing pretty good actually. I was actually doing good until the intro. I'm not really feeling it today. We kind of discussed this. We're gonna do a 10-minute show,
10 minutes.
in and out, and then just kind of get out of here. We have three NBA games. Uh, NBA, hopefully it's a little better today. I think Ryan was in the same boat as me yesterday, where I was actually on this weird 5-day profit streak. Everything was going great. I felt like I was baller again. I was up a lot. My units were going up. It was great. And then yesterday, I don't know, man. The Suns lost by like what 30,000 points.
Something like that. It actually,
That
like, I
was
didn't watch the game and I woke up today and I was wondering why everybody was so upset. I was like, 27-point game. I guess that is still a hell of a blowout, but still.
I'm pretty
Yeah, being
sure.
down 45 is not a good recipe last
Yeah,
summer.
it was. I'm surprised the Suns got to 40 points by halftime. I was watching that game and I was convinced they weren't even going to reach that point. I think starters played maybe 4 or 5 minutes in the third and then just got pulled because there's no reason to be in down 45.
Yeah.
We kind of touched.
It just sounds like you didn't ladder Okogie props, which is just
Josh Okogie's probably the best player in that game. I mean, which is saying a lot.
28 points. He was the leading scorer of the game. I wonder
Yeah.
what the odds were or if they even existed.
I don't even think they had. I don't even think they had props for him. It's Josh Okogie. I mean,
He scored 12 the prior game. His role has evolved ever so slightly, but
yeah,
didn't see that one coming.
He was crashing the offensive boards. He was hitting clutch shots. You know, he hit this 1 3 to cut the lead down to 45 at one point, and that was big. Like that's my favorite Chris Paul meme where they have that that YouTube video where it's like Chris Paul, it's a clutch 3 to cut the lead to 26.
It's so funny. I love
It's
that
like
so much.
it cracks me up every time. I guess Chris Paul's Kanye, I mean, like whole revenge tour didn't go as planned last night.
That was interesting. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
Desmond Ritter is going to start for the Falcons this week.
yeah. Oh wow. See, it's about time. Can you
hold on? Sorry, week 14 after the bye.
Okay, yeah, of course. Yeah, but that makes sense because can't be much worse there. But I was gonna say is to touch lastly on NBA too is I took Giannis's PR yesterday. Dude dropped 35 points and I didn't win.
That's crazy. I debated his points all day long and I ended up not taking them. Of course.
The funny thing is I was debating points, rebounds, or whatever. And whenever I like two separate props, I like the combo, just take the PR. And I was thinking, oh, with all the possessions in this game, one or the other could save me. 35 points, season low. Actually, could it be a career low? 6 rebounds is crazy. I mean,
6 rebounds. That is actually a season low. That he's had 7 multiple times.
It's a season low, but yeah, 6 is just tough.
That's awesome. You love
yeah. He had, I think the team had like 56 rebounds or something like that, or 55. Really? Yeah, because I was thinking with the track meet Kings, there's gonna be so many rebounds in that game. Giannis could save me either way. And 6 boards didn't help. I think he only played 30 minutes. He had 4 fouls, so
yeah,
it's tougher to get boards when you're in foul trouble.
Yeah, last season he had 5 rebounds once and 6 rebounds 2 times. So
so I needed 2 more PR from Giannis onto the arthritis, and I didn't get it with his 6 rebound game. He also, I'm not a Giannis hater, but that guy cracks me up because a lot of his offensive game is he just gets the ball and he just dribbles like a bowl in a china shop at the rim and just it's like bowling pins. Everyone falls down. He gets to the line despite everyone being in like perfect position and he just bowls them over. And then it's like 2 shots. And it's just so funny. Even the announcers last night were saying it's like a bowling arena. It's like a bowling pin. And it's true. Everyone's sitting here for the charge, and he just destroys them. And he's at the line.
Yeah, I mean, to his credit and to your props credit, like he shot 9 of 10 from the free throw line.
Yeah, which I thought was like I thought that was gonna save the PR. And if you have a 90% Giannis free throw game and you still lose your bet, you just know it's not your night.
Yeah, for sure. That's
we have 3 games tonight.
It's not the worst slate. This is, last week
there's not a lot of props yet. There's not a lot of props for some of them, but the only game I would think I could see myself not betting is the Clippers game because
Smart man.
I have a rule against the Clippers and Heat where I hate them. I don't hate the teams. I hate to bet on them
Oh yeah.
because their injury reports, their rotations, it's a headache to try to figure out. I mean, you could tell me that they're gonna start Kyle Lowry at power forward or center, and I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. Like I don't know, they have the weirdest rotations and the weirdest injury report.
Yeah, this is going to be a battle. Like the game is before the game on this one. Like who can create more fuckery in injury reports, lineup news, and just I mean it'll be incredible. If only I could bet on those kind of props. Like how many questionable tags will be in this be in the pregame here.
If you're going both teams, I would set the injury report. I would go 9.5, 10
I was
and a
going to
half.
say it's probably double digits. The Heat alone almost pull out double digits
The
sometimes.
Heat alone put their whole 50-man roster on the injury report. I swear they do it on purpose.
They're like the Belichick Patriots. I mean, I guess he's still there. I don't know why I say it like that, but yeah, they're like the Patriots. They just list everybody questionable.
You heard it here first if it happens, but I think Kawhi might not play only because he's the only guy listed for props. Like it just feels like one of those days where it's like it's
so
him and Paul
odd.
George. It's him and Paul George, only ones listed, and like
Dude,
10 minutes
bait.
before.
It's got to be bait. Good, yeah. Kawhi is unlikely to play, but I don't. That's only coming from Underdog. I haven't seen anything else mention it. I guess that there's no Paul George anything, so I guess we can assume he will play.
No, you don't. Not that I wouldn't assume with this.
Yeah, true. So yeah, these lines just being hung right there. This 13.5 and this 22.5 has got to be bait. It's so sketchy to me. It's blowing my mind.
I don't have any conspiracy theory, but I think this is just something they do for fun. Whenever someone doesn't play, I swear they give them like the best lines. Like it's just a void for you. But what was it on Monday? I was so excited to get a 29.5 point line on John Morant against the Heat, and they just randomly didn't play. And over the weekend, Josh Hart got a 4.5 rebound line. Didn't play that game. Like I swear they do it just to get your money tied up and feel bad about yourself for an hour. But
there you go.
Yeah, that's a game I don't see myself touching. I don't even know who's going to be in. I would say the under would be a good play, but it's 213, which just seems really good. I don't know if I like that. The Rockets, the Rockets Spurs games, there's no really props out. The only thing I could see myself looking at is unders for maybe Zach Collins, because I think we talked about it before with how the Rockets play, that they kind of neutralize certain positions, which is weird. The only center to really go off against them is Joel Embiid, who still had this proves my point. Joel Embiid against the Rockets only had 4 rebounds in 6 overtimes.
Did he really? I didn't watch that game, but I was so entranced.
I think he had 39 points and 4 rebounds in like 40 minutes, something like that.
7 rebounds.
7. Okay, he had 3 going into overtime. So
Jesus.
Yeah, or 4. Like the Rockets weirdly just they limit rebounds in a crazy amount to big men. I don't know, because it's not like Sengun really, he doesn't pull them away. He's not really a stretch big that really pulls people away, but he's not a big player that plays, heavyweight inside. But for one reason or another, the Rockets limit big men on the rebounds so well, and it's an angle I've been kind of cashing on.
Interesting. Yeah, so the reason we're not having props for that one is I guess Kevin Porter is holding us up. He's questionable. So as far as the Spurs side, Devin Vassell is doubtful. So I kind of like Trey Jones there. I'm not going to bet anything right now. But they bumped up Trey Jones to 14.5. That's a little sketchy, but I do like this look for Trey Jones because while they limit center stats, they do not limit point guard stats in the slightest. They are allowing the most points and most assists to point guards. Should be a very, very fast game. I was actually kind of surprised at the 230 over and under. I really thought it would be more than that. Granted, I only thought it was going to be a few points more than that. But I mean, I guess if you just look across these rosters, the talent's not that spectacular. So the Spurs projected lineup is Trey Jones, Malachi Branham, Keldon Johnson, Doug McDermott, and Zach Collins.
Oh, and Quan's talking about Jokic. Jokic is actually a good play, but that's in the late game. We're breaking down each game here. Quan, can you chill out in the chat. Someone else in the chat, Sam, says he loves big men. That's something that's fun. If that's your thing.
Yeah, don't jump the gun.
I
All
don't
right,
know. I
now
don't know.
moving on to the late game.
No, I was gonna. My final thing was gonna be is that the Rockets definitely give up to guards, but with Pirtle out, I definitely will give if I get good lines on Zach Collins, like maybe an 8.5 rebound line. That's something I would look at the under. Maybe 7.5 if it feels right. But
Collins props are out.
they weren't before the game, before the show.
He's minus 130 for under 7.5.
See that's one where I'll wait for other books to open up. But the Rockets really have limited those lines to centers.
So interesting.
Stop discussing the game with 0 props, but we are getting to props. So we'll go to the late game because I do have a prop for the late game, and I don't know if Quan knows it's Jokic or what, but I am taking Nikola Jokic in the late game. And this is a weird one because Jokic is very interesting to bet on because he can do so many things that it's almost annoying to take one thing and then watch him go out there and take 4 shots the entire game.
I feel you.
But I do think this is a game where he can score. And I'm actually doing an alt same game parlay with him where I'm experimenting with this because I like his points / assist at 31.5. But then I was like, look, I was digging into it a little bit more. I do like his over 23.5 points. His stats against Nurk overall aren't the best in his career, but 4 of his last 5 games, he has scored 20 points or more on what's his name? Yusuf Nurkic. So I do like this look. It's plus 118 on FanDuel. I like the assists more than anything with him. So getting 20 points, which he's done in 62% of games, and 8 assists, which he's done in I think 72% of games, feels like a good price at this line. It's also a discount from the 32 points / assists I'd need for the combo line. Yeah. But in his last 10 games, he scored 20 or more in 6 of them. And with 2 of them, he scored 19. So hopefully I don't get screwed at 19. But he has 8 or more assists in 8 of his last 10. And the Blazers allow a lot of assists, which is weird because their defense efficiency is not bad in any way. But I think they are so vulnerable to centers that can pass. And as a primary passer, I like his assists a lot. So getting 20 points, which he's, very capable of, it's just a matter if he wants to. And if he does get doubled, he passes out. I like the 8+ assists. So this is how I decided to play Jokic today.
Okay. Yeah. The first prop I looked at when I woke up this morning was definitely his 23.5. And actually it's funny, you stole Quan's prop, which is interesting. I can't believe you would do such a thing. Quan, can you believe this shit?
What did he take? Oh, he took the points. Yeah, I like the points. I like the assist. I honestly was fighting myself trying to figure out how to play Jokic today, only because I like the PA, I like the points, and I like the assists, but I do weirdly like this way to attack it at plus money with 28.
Yeah, Quan said I own Jokic props.
Yeah, I don't know. He's kind of going off right now. But yeah, that's how I decided to attack Jokic today.
Okay, I have a prop for this game.
I think 8 assists is safe for him. And I'm more worried about the points, which is weird, not because he can score 40 if he wants to, but sometimes he just doesn't look for it.
Yeah, he's very frustrating to watch. I actually had his RA last game, so it's really cool to watch him.
It's weird. It's weird. Like he can do so much, but sometimes just doesn't.
It was really neat to watch him have 2 rebounds in the first half. I was enjoying myself.
Yeah. I mean, he ended with 19 points, but I think he scored 1 or 2 points in the first quarter. So that's what I mean. Like he's just a guy because he's frustrated when you lose a bet on him because you don't think you lost because of, he played bad. He just, didn't
he picks and chooses like where he wants to dominate the game, which is interesting. Like it's a credit to him if anything, but I don't know. He's overall he's quite frustrating. Him averaging 10 rebounds exactly this year is kind of odd to me. I mean, his minutes are down ever so slightly, but his
rebounds are so down.
Rebounds are at.
Yeah.
He's averaging 10.0, which is down from almost 14 last year. But nonetheless, yeah, I like that spot. Assist is very is always an intriguing option. His assist, he's averaging a career high there. So Murray and Porter came back, and he really looked to feed them. The scoring's down, his assists are up. Granted, Porter's out on this one. But yeah, I like that spot. It's a good one. But I too have a prop on this game. I'm going to go with a friend of the show, my man Anthony Simons, over 22.5 points. Again, this has been a fairly familiar prop for me during this show. I'm going to double check real quick and make sure it's still the same on DraftKings. I know it moved a little bit on FanDuel, so let me see here. It is, yep, still minus 115 at 22.5. So there's a couple things I like about this. You can almost call it a bit of a discount, but not really. Dame is back. Dame played last game, played 32 minutes, took 16 shots. But this is a little bit different version of the Dame that we're used to seeing throughout his career. He always played with CJ McCollum, but overall, like the talent level that he had around him was never that good. So he was such a high volume shooter. Whereas this year, not that he's low volume by any means, but he seems content. Like it looks like he really enjoys having teammates that can put the ball in the basket. So he's cool standing back and letting Grant get his 20, Simons get his hopefully 23. And then, he'll pick up his 20, 25 himself and his 6 or 7 assists. So, Simon's numbers don't really decrease much when Dame plays. Over the last 7 games, the volume is actually kind of absurd. Over the last 7 games that Dame has played, he's averaging 18.1 field goal attempts, 10.4 3-point attempts, and 3.7 free throw attempts. He's over in 5 of 7. And I kind of just got tired of looking at all the game logs. So that's the only reason I stopped at 7.
That makes sense. That's fair.
I got sick of doing all the math and looking at all these games. So I didn't just pick out a juicy 7-game sample size
that's my favorite thing to do. And that's my favorite thing to do though, is when you see someone and it's like, oh, his career against this guy, he averaged XYZ. And I'm like, are you talking about 2008 when he was a rookie? Like, oh man, Blake Griffin against this team averages 23, 4, whatever it is. It's like, yeah, but he's 62 years old now. I don't know if that really is relevant anymore. Last time Blake Griffin played Chris Paul, he had 42 points. Yeah, in 2003.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So I didn't necessarily do that here. I just kind of I saw the info that I wanted to see and kind of just ran with it. That's why I'm talking a 7-game span. But anyway, around it, he averages 23 points over that 7 games. He's shooting the ball 18 times and 10 times from 3. So the volume's there. Denver's pretty bad against shooting guards. They allow 24 points a game to shooting guards. And over the last 3 games, they're allowing over 42% from 3, which has really been a downfall on their losing streak. Simons at home is just he's good on the road too. He doesn't have like a massive difference in splits by any means, but at home he's shooting 47% from the field, 45% from 3, and he makes 5 fucking threes a game at home, which is just mind-blowing. So you can chalk up 12 to 14 points. 12 to 15 points just from threes right there in most cases. So I like this spot. I mean, when Dame doesn't play, he sits around 24.5 and 25.5. But his volume was fairly similar with or without Dame. So I mean, he's still going to get really heavy minutes. He's still going to take close to 20 shots. He's almost definitely going to take 10 threes. So I like the spot with him at home versus a pretty weak perimeter defense.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about before, role players play a lot better at home. And overall, the biggest worry, because we talked about in the Bankers Open on Tuesday, the biggest worry I have with the Denver Nuggets as a contender is their defense is awful.
Yeah,
it is atrocious. For a team that has individually good defenders, they are just terrible on defense. Like, their metrics are awful. So I actually did give Simons a look, because as much as Dame is tempting in this matchup, he is still kind of in that weird, how many minutes he's going to see, how healthy, like he's still coming back a little bit. And Simons is a guy, I mean, you can live with it even if you do lose, because he plays 36, 38. Like, he plays crazy minutes.
Yeah.
He kind of reminds me of like the Jalen Brunson when he was, kind of running around. But yeah, he plays a lot of minutes,
Yeah,
and if
sometimes
you're
up
on,
to 40 pretty routinely.
yeah, if you're on the
37
court,
minutes.
if you're on the court, you're always a threat to score. I mean, so there's a lot that goes in there, which should be a closer game. This should be a good game to watch. So I did give him a look, so I think that's a good angle for this one.
Yeah, Dame was really interesting. I mean, he was guns blazing. Granted, it was only 5 games, but he was so awesome in October. And then November hit, and granted, again, he only played 6 games, but his shooting numbers were really bad. He's like 35% from the field, 28% from three. So damn, Quan, let's go. Thanks, dude.
Dude, we got another cheer. I mean, I guess everyone loves to see you make up stats to make yourself feel better about yourself. Awesome. That's what it is.
I just pick out the juicy ass 7-game sample size. I love it. Yes, thank you for the subs. Thanks for the cheers. This is wonderful. Yeah, it's Brian's Twitch burn. That's a fact.
I have 42 Twitch burners. It's really a problem. I have to keep making fake emails.
It's the only reason we have anybody watching right now.
Probably. Yeah, I spent more money trying to make the show look popular than I do by actually doing the show. It's really a problem. I don't know why I keep doing this.
Just gave us 5 more.
Wow, this is crazy. I actually do, like, I know Quan's kind of like, he gets a hard time sometimes, but I would never say it to his face. But he's a really good guy, and I do appreciate having him. It's like the Michael Scott with Pam. He's like, I would never say this to her face, but she's a wonderful person, a gifted artist. Why wouldn't you say it to her face? That's me with Quan. Like, behind the scenes, I think he's a great guy, but whenever he texts me, I'm always just really crude to him and make him feel bad for an hour and then come back. But it's all going to be okay when Jokic scores 25. He has 10 assists, probably 3 rebounds for no reason, but he'll get it done.
Shout out to Colin, who's missing his corporate job meeting to listen to us. That's what the fuck I like to hear right there. That makes my day.
Dude, you ever have a meeting, you just forget about it? That happened to me on Monday. I had a meeting and I just forgot. And I got a text saying, hey, are you ready? We're all in the waiting room. And I was like driving to the grocery store and I did turn back and act like I had bad internet. So it happens. It definitely happens. But I
haven't even opened up my work laptop. Love
it. It is 11 a.m. So you should probably do that. But yeah, those are the 2 props we have in this game. Ryan's on Anthony Simons, and as Ryan would say, I'm on Joe Kick.
Joe Kick,
which
that's right.
Someone in the chat earlier made that joke that you say Joe Kick as if it's like a first and last name. Like Joe space Kick.
Oh,
Joe Kick.
I read that and it went clean over my head.
Wow, really? Joe Kick.
Joe Kick.
Yeah, Joe Kick. Joe Kick, baby. So I'm on Jokic. I'm on Jokic. 20 points, 8 assists.
Mr. Joseph Kick.
Knowing me, I'm always a guy that does the, I was going to do over 31 PA. So I'm calling it now that because I did this all parlay, he's going to score 19 points, but have like 13 assists. It's going to be something that's going to make me so mad that you're not going to hear from me for like a month. Mr. Joseph Kick. Yes.
Mr. Joseph Kick.
Joe Kick for short.
Is there any other spots that you're kind of eyeing in the games that obviously we don't have props for or don't really have much?
I'm not touching the other game.
Kind of catch your eye.
Like I said, the only thing would be Zach Collins unders, just because the weird center funnel that is the Houston Rockets. Like I said, even Joe Embiid, who is slightly bigger than Sengun, didn't grab any rebounds. So I don't know what that is. I don't know what they're drinking in Houston, but they are doing something right in terms of that.
No doubt.
Someone said I want an Ayton refund from me, and everyone's saying that that Ayton sold. I will say, I don't think Ayton sold that game. I think the Suns as a collective team sold that game. Ayton didn't play well, but he had 8 points at half, and it could have had hope if they weren't down 68 at halftime. They were down 45 points. They had 7 turnovers in the second quarter. That's impressive to have 7 turnovers in a quarter.
That is pretty incredible.
Yeah. So someone said Jabari Smith night. I could see that.
I
Jabari
don't
Smith's
mind
actually
that.
he's actually playing really well.
He's definitely been better scorer at home. And then it gets pretty interesting without Kevin Porter. I think Kevin Porter's only missed one game, but I think Eric Gordon kind of took on a lot of the usage. But Jabari seems to be
Eric
evolving
Gordon's
a
still
little
kicking
bit.
around. That's crazy too.
Yeah, I know.
He's like being productive.
He's not bad either. Like he's a fairly solid player. That's
He's a
an
2K hack.
Indiana guy, I
He's
think,
a good
right?
2K player. You can
There
get
you
him in
go.
2K. You can get him in late rounds.
He is, he's an Indiana guy. Nice. Yeah, he's playing fairly decent. He also, oh no, he's not really any more significantly better at home or anything. Um, yeah, so that Jabari's kind of interesting. I'm kind of intrigued by Doug McDermott, but it's like this feels like what could be a good spot, but his minutes are all over the place and he's not really shooting that much. So I won't touch it, but I'll be kind of frustrated when he hits 4 threes tonight and I didn't play it
In the first quarter.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a crazy game.
yeah. So I definitely plan on playing something there in that Houston and San Antonio game. I think that's going to be a really fun one. Clippers and Heat come 7:30. I won't even consider that basketball exists. Fuck that game. Fuck those teams. Fuck those coaches.
Can I take Keldon Johnson over 22.5 field goal attempts? Because that sounds like, I don't know how many he's gonna make, but he's taking 30.
Keldon killed me the other week. I had him I needed 2 points in the fourth quarter, and he played 10 minutes and took 6 shots.
Wait, what game was that?
I think it wasn't OKC. Maybe it was OKC. Yeah, it had to have been OKC. Yeah. He shot 5 of 22. And he had 19 points, and I had him for over. Hold on, what game was this?
Because I was on his under in one of the games. I don't know which one. I forget which one. He's a fun guy to take the unders on, because if I take an under on a guy, I want them to shoot like that. I don't want it to be some people are like, oh, I hope they don't take any shots. I want them to break every shot. I want to see them miss. I don't know. I'm a weird, there's nothing better than being on guys under and just seeing them pull up and then just airball 3 and it warms you up inside. And Keldon Johnson's perfect at that. He shoots like 11%. I guess he's on the Spurs though, and they let him just chuck. I mean, he's not bad, but I don't hate Keldon Johnson, but he just chucks.
Oh yeah, big time. And he was so oddly efficient in October. He shot 46% from the field, almost 44% from 3, and averaged 24 points.
Yeah.
And then the season's just come crashing down on him. It's too much of a workload, which is a big reason why I like Devin Vassell, because he's so beautifully handled this increased workload. I'm a big fan of his. Yeah. I like players that get more minutes and maintain their efficiency. That's always really impressive for me.
It's hard to find that, but yeah. There's 2 guys that I like to take unders on that I've actually had success with, which people were making fun of me that Kelly Oubre destroyed me the other day because he dropped 30 points. I'm still 3-1 in my Kelly Oubre fades, but those guys that chuck a lot, they're really fun and satisfying when they miss. If you win on their unders, it's really awesome. But if you miss, it just pisses you off. I get mad. If they make shots, it just makes you so upset because they're taking 20 shots, but when they start off say 6 for 8 shooting, it just makes you so mad because that never happens.
Yeah,
I've seen Kelly Oubre have 1 for 10 3-point shooting nights multiple times this year. And there is times where Kelly Oubre, it's like a tie game. He'll miss 3 straight threes and keep chucking, and all of a sudden they're down 10 points. And I wanna call a timeout for the coaching staff and just be like, yo, we gotta figure this out. You're killing us. It's terrible. He will chuck whether he is shooting 10 for 10 or 0 for 40. He will not pass. He will still pull up for that 3. Someone said quit fading Oubre. He's hot right now. I faded him once in the last week. It was one time against the Clippers, who are supposed to be good defensively, but they forgot how to do that game.
Yeah, isn't that something?
But that's all I have for this. That's all I have for this game. For this overall, it's not a crazy slate, so we can move on to Thursday Night Football. I don't know. Do you have a play for Thursday Night Football?
Yeah, I do.
Because everyone's gonna hate mine, so I don't even want to take mine. I don't even want to talk about it.
Oh boy, I think I already know what you're on. I think Quan will really like my play.
You wanna go first, because I don't know if I want to give mine out, because this is gonna be one where I'm just gonna post it and hope no one notices that I even posted it,
Oh
because
boy.
people are gonna like, I don't do this for people to hate me. I just find value, and
Sure.
I'm okay taking unders, and no one seems to enjoy it. They all hate it. Like, I don't
Fucking
know.
hate it.
I know, but I sent my old boss, who's a guy that I don't know. He just randomly texts me still. He's like, picks tonight? Question mark. And I sent all my picks like the other night, and it was like 4 picks. Only one was an under. And he texted me back. And he was like, why don't you like whoever it was? And it was the only one he had a question about. Like the overs he took with no questions, no hesitation. But then he's like, why don't you like him tonight? And I'm like, dude, come on.
That is
Like,
funny.
it's just they're so programmed against it.
Yeah. So I do have an over for those watching to give you something to, wrap your mind around and enjoy the show a little bit before Brian drains us with his underplay. I'm actually going to go Mac Hollins, wide receiver
Oh,
2, over 45.5 receiving yards.
Philadelphia
Um,
Eagles legend.
yes, that's an absolute fact. This is a Philadelphia Eagles legend, a fourth round pick out of UNC, who basically, when they talked him up when we drafted him, they were like, he's really good at special teams. Like, fucking awesome. Wonderful.
Yeah.
But oddly enough, he's actually developed into a fairly solid receiver. Over the past several weeks, he's played 100% of snaps, 91% of snaps, 85%, 96%, 100%, 96%, 98%. So obviously he's just on the field pretty much the whole game. His reception prop is at 3.5 and it's pretty heavily juiced to the over. Now he only averages like 12 something yards per catch. So he can catch a deep ball, but he's not like he doesn't average 20 yards per catch or anything like that. But I do like that it's juiced to the over. Over the last 4 weeks, he has 6, 9, 5, and 9 targets. So he's on the field often. He gets a pretty good amount of looks. Now Jalen Ramsey, he's not much of a shadow guy, but he has to take Adams tonight. You would think, right? Like, how can he let Devontae Adams tear up the other side of the field while he just chills on the right side? I don't see it happening. I'm not saying he'll cover Adams every play, but he's got to be on Adams a lot of the time. I mean, a lot of people proclaim he's the number one cornerback. That may have kind of died out a bit this year.
Yeah,
But
I think everyone hates him now. I
yeah,
think he's really fallen off a little bit.
yeah, for sure. But so let's put him on Adams often. On the opposite side of the field, thanks to injury, they start this guy Darion Kendrick, who was a 6th round pick out of Georgia. I would imagine he was good at Georgia. He is not good in the NFL. He gets just cooked pretty much weekly. The Rams are 30th in the league in DVOA versus wide receiver 2, thanks to my man Darion Kendrick. So a couple stats for this guy. Like I said, he was a 6th round pick. One of my favorite stats for cornerbacks is target separation, how far away they are from the receiver when they are targeted. And he's 89th in the league in target separation. He's 2.5 yards away from the receiver when he's targeted. So he's like 8 feet away from the fucking receiver when he gets thrown to. He's allowing 14.2 yards per catch, and he's 50th in receptions allowed. So he's 53rd in receptions allowed. He's given up 30 receptions and averages 14.2 yards per catch. When targeted, passers have a 112 passer rating against him. 66.7% of the passes that way are completed. So assuming Ramsey does take on the Adams assignment at least 65-ish% of the time, which I think is fairly reasonable, I think Mac Hollins has a beautiful matchup. And Carr is Carr. He's productive. Well, I'm not sure if he's good, great, or whatever whatever you would want to call him. But he's productive, and his receivers can be productive as well. I like my man Mac Hollins tonight.
And I like that as well. I do believe that this is a great game overall for the passing game for the Raiders. I was actually looking at Derek Carr's over as well. I think this is a game that he could chuck. You mentioned too that the Rams have a better, like, overall the Rams their DVOA is terrible in the passing game. And if you're not familiar, that's a stat by the Football Outsiders, and it basically it's just like it's a stat that is like the adjusted number for a defense over what is expected. So it's like a stat that the Football Outsiders made. If you don't find, it's a free website, but it's basically where you can assess a defense's performance based on like what the average baseline is for a certain look or a certain play or certain coverage, and how teams like how they perform based on that, baseline. So the Rams defense is fourth in DVOA against the run, the fourth best. So the only thing the Rams have going for them in their hurt quarterback, terrible pass coverage, and all things mixed in, the one thing they have going for them is their run defense. They're fourth in DVOA. I think, what are they in pass? They're bottom 4, bottom 5. They are not good in the pass DVOA. They're much better at the run. So that is a good spot. I do like Matt Collins. I can't get over the fact that he's still Matt Collins and he's still making plays in the NFL. That's my thing.
Yeah, I feel that it took me a while to wrap my mind around this. This is basically a Raiders home game. That's an interesting thought. Yeah.
Quan in the chat just tell me what it stands for. It's defense adjusted value over average. There we go. DVOA. Everyone talks about it. Not sure if you know what it was. Also,
I like the stat. It helps me.
It's a great stat. I think it's the most helpful stat, honestly.
For analytics, say what you want about them. I like a lot of baseball analytics. I don't really dig as deeply into NFL analytics, but this is one if you'd like to consider it an analytics stat, which I
also JD's texting me, asking me what the green thing is on my floor. It's a basketball. As you can see, I have a nice court set up here with a rim. It's a Nerf rim. It costs $29, so it's pretty legit. Well, it came with 2 Nerf balls, so it's.
Is it a metal rim?
Yeah, I think. I don't know. I dunk on it. It holds up,
Yeah, let's get a Vince Carter through the legs dunk to cap the show. Yeah,
my ceiling's not tall enough for that. I don't want to break my ceiling, put a hole through it with my giant ass head. But I'm glad what you are on kind of coincides with what I like tonight. And
massive rim guy.
So Ryan is on Matt Collins. This one's gonna piss people off, but I do think the number is too high for the best offensive player right now, which is Josh Jacobs.
Talk up.
I will say this: if you don't want to take it under on Josh Jacobs, I totally understand it. But I cannot see myself taking the over. I don't think you have to take the under, but 90 rushing yards is asking a lot. I know he has 100 yards in the last 3 games, but considering that he had 100 and some in overtime with that one run. We saw it a few weeks ago with the Packers. The Packers run defense is horrendous. And on Thursday Night Football, we all watched them sell out their soul to stop Derrick Henry, which they did. Same kind of thing here. I like the idea of taking it under on a running back for Thursday Night Football. If you're not aware, football's a physical game, and 4 days rest is just killer on a guy's body. If you haven't seen
26 carries too.
He has 83 carries in the last 3 weeks. Josh Jacobs is also dealing with his calf and an ankle injury. He has on the injury report. He wasn't even sure if he was going to play. He's still questionable. He's going to play, but my thinking is here he's on 4 days rest, dealing with an injury. He's playing with one of the best, run defenses in the league. I know they have some injuries, but even with the injuries, the Rams run defense has really played well all year. They are the 4th best run defense in terms of DVOA, which I talked about. They are 4th best in yards allowed per game at 96 and yards per carry at 3.9. They've only allowed 1 running back to go for 90 yards all season, and that was Christian McCaffrey, who had 2 cracks at it. So he only got 1 on them. Josh Jacobs is under this line in half his game, so 6 or 12. but 3 of the games he went off on, he played bottom 10 teams in terms of DVOA, and he just made a mockery of those bottom teams in the run. But in the games he's gone under, he's played better run defense, obviously, but the 3 games that he's played with top 15 run defenses, so I'm going top 15, not even just, singling out the fact he had a bad game against the Titans. He's averaging 70 yards in those games, and that's a 19-yard difference. And the Rams are 4th, so they're not a borderline on that stat. They're very much the top end of that stat. I just think this is like a high line. So many outs for this. Whether or not he is just ineffective, whether or not, I think the passing game has so much success here. So if you have big chunk plays in your passing game, it's going to limit the yards for the running back. And I know the biggest concern will be the injuries on the Rams, but I mean, despite the injuries, like I said, even without Aaron Donald, they're just sticking to it, and they held some really top running backs to a lot of smaller yards per carry. And lastly, to kind of salvage myself on this under, if the Rams do get blown out or the Raiders take a big lead, I know you could think, oh, they're just gonna pound it with Jacobs. I think the opposite, that if they get up a lot, I don't know if they're going to risk putting Josh Jacobs out there on 4 days rest after 83 carries. Like if he's really dealing with his leg injury, I think he could see less carries in the fourth quarter, and they could use, some of the other rotating backs, because I don't know if at this point in the season in a playoff push, his health is the top priority for them.
Oh yeah, has to be. Okay. Josh Jacobs under, what is it? 89? Yeah, 89.5.
89 is just a lot. Like,
that's a lot of fucking yards.
That's just like, my thing is that's a lot of yards. I know he's been killing it, but the last time he had 3 straight overs of 100 yards, he came out with 43 the next game against the Saints. So there is such a thing called the buy low, like the buy high spot, where if they gave me like an 80-yard line, I wouldn't touch it. But you're asking for 90 yards against a top run defense, and if they sell out, like I said, when Matt Collins is scoring multiple 75-yard touchdowns, where are the yards going to come with Josh Jacobs? They're all going to be bombs to Matt Collins.
I like that. Hey, do you remember that one time that I actually jumped on your prop from last week as well on Sunday? Saquon Barkley. Remember that time that we needed 10 yards in the second half and we ended overtime needing 11 yards?
He had 64 at half. He lost the 5 yards or whatever. That killed me. And then that kind of put in my head that, holy hell, rushing unders might be valuable, because I feel like that happens all the time.
I got crushed on. I had a couple running backs over last week, and I don't think any of them. I was like 0 for 3 or 0 for 4 on running back over. So, not my favorite prop at this current time. So, I actually have my support.
I was gonna say was the thing with Jacobs as well is that the only thing that can kill this is obviously like a big play, because he does have that big play potential. But the Rams have actually been really good at just limiting those big plays. Like in the passing game, not as much, but like I said, in their overall disappointing ass season, the one thing they have going for them is that run defense. They've really just limited big plays. And I mean, last week, I think, what was it? The Seahawks. I know Kenneth Walker didn't really play much, but like they just 3.9 yards per carry, and his over under in rushing attempts is 20.5. So I like to use that, because if you assume he gets 21 carries at 3 yards a carry or 4 yards a carry, it's not enough to get 90.
Yeah, for sure. I like that.
It's a set and forget one. Just watch the game. Don't worry about it. He could be at 90 yards and you still have a chance with how the NFL can be.
That's for sure. Yeah. Every running back that I bet over on always gets like a -5 or a -6 yard run, which is really fun. In fact, 2 weeks ago, I had Kenneth Walker over. He had a -13 yard run. So
I saw that run.
That was fucking awesome.
That was so crazy to think about.
Quan said, if I didn't hit the all-time or the anytime touchdown parlay, I'd be homeless. I feel that. So I think that covers our props that we have today. Is that correct?
I believe that's all I have. I mean, I don't like much, and my final piece of advice is that what I've learned in primetime football, which actually has been helpful for me because I'm taking a lot of unders in primetime recently, which has been great. But if I'm debating between over and an under in primetime, because I was thinking about Derek Carr's over or Josh Jacobs under, I always go with the under because I feel like if the other one hits, it's a good correlation there mentally that if Derek Carr goes off, Josh Jacobs should go lower. So I would look if you wanted to. I for my risk free, I might parlay Carr's over with Josh Jacobs over in receiving yards, but it's under in rush yards. That might be what I look for the sweat free
Interesting. Interesting.
because I do believe they're going to try to get Jacobs involved. I just don't see it being against this run defense that might just stack the box.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, let's see here. So, yeah, I don't have too much left on this one. And then NBA slate, we already covered that, which kicks us off to the pick it popular play section.
I do have a play for Sunday.
Oh,
do you not have any plays for Sunday?
No, I don't have any plays for Sunday. My apologies.
Oh man. So this one pissed me off because prop bet guy, I texted him. I thought, you know what? This is a prop bet. No one else is gonna bet on this guy. It's gonna stay for a while. And then prop bet guy took it at like 10 a.m. and I punched through my wall. But you're a fellow Eagles fan, and I believe you can agree with me that the one way to beat the Philadelphia Eagles in their top ranked passing, overall, are we 2 in DVOA and passing, I believe. All you have to know is the Philadelphia Eagles passing defense is absurdly good this year. And the only way to really beat them is in the center of the field. The weak part is that, that mushy center where our linebackers kind of are in a weird blitz package there. So we do allow, I think it's 44 yards per tight end per week. So 44, it's the 10th most. So it's nothing like we're getting killed by tight ends like the Cardinals do. But I'm looking at Daniel Bellinger over 18.5 yards. I actually really like this play. If you don't know about Bellinger, he's the guy that got poked in the eye like a month ago, and I thought he was going to die. Do you remember that?
I don't actually.
He got poked in the eye, and he's missed, I think, 5 games because he started bleeding from his helmet because he got poked in the eye. So you
bet on a person with one eye.
Yeah, but he came back last week. So last week, Bellinger came back, 1 eye and all, and he caught all 5 targets. And against Daniel Jones, I'm imagining that's a tough target. That's a tough thing to do.
Yeah, no kidding.
But yeah. So he did come back. I wouldn't have touched him the first week back, but his eye looked fine. He looked like he could see the field. He made it out of the huddle, and he was lining up the right way. He was not facing any other direction. But in his last 6 games, he's over this line in all 5. Daniel Jones loves him. I don't know what, he likes this guy a lot. He had 5 targets last week, like I said, and Daniel Jones doesn't have the biggest arm, so he loves that check off or that dump off receiver. And with Bradbury and Slay on the outside covering the shell of the Giants wide receivers, which are non-existent, yeah. I just think this could happen. And it's a 2-catch prop, really, 18.5. He's had 20 or more in 6 of his last 7. And like I said, he came back last week, he saw 97% of snaps. If you're talking about being on the field, 97% is almost 100 if you round up in your math. So he's just going to be out there a lot, and I'm imagining a negative game script for the Giants because the Eagles should handle business. And also, I want to bet on this because I'm going to be at the game. So I think that'd be funny if I'm wearing my Eagles jersey if I'm wearing my Eagles jersey at MetLife, cheering whenever Bellinger gets a catch. I'll just confuse some people.
I like it. And shout out to the game script. I don't think we touched on game script for a moment in Thursday night, and it's actually like a fairly decent game script potential game. So interesting that we made it all the way to Sunday props before we brought up the game script. 97% is almost 100%. That is mathematical insight. You learn something new every day. And
Brian, I'm pretty good at math. I once counted to 17, and then so that's pretty good. Yeah, so I like Bellinger a lot. Uh, Weirdly enough,
Pretty good.
sometimes those obscure props could be the best ones, and I think that's just one that really stands out, especially for a guy that's seeing the volume he is. Because 5 targets in the Giants' offense is basically what that's got to be like a 60% target share,
Yeah, probably.
right? Or I should
Yeah,
say catch share, not target share. They'll throw the ball 30 times, but he caught 5, which has to be a record for them this year.
probably.
He had more catches than Kenny Galladay did in a single half, I think. He's out there doing whatever he wants. So this is a play I like a lot against the Eagles.
Good deal. Good deal. I think that will actually Brian the optometrist first place. I like these
Before we go to Pickett,
solid.
before we've talked to Pickett, I want to ask you your opinion on Mark Andrews this week, because I was gonna take him before the show, but then I saw his line move from 51.5 to 55.5. So I decided I was gonna ask your opinion, because I actually thought it'd be 54.5. I thought that's like where he'd open, but I hate taking lines after I know I missed out on like the golden line.
Yeah. What is Lamar's status?
He's out. But if you remember last year,
Huntley is
Huntley and Andrews, I don't know what they do. I mean, I guess he goes to the breakfast, right? Isn't that Cooper Cup's thing? They have breakfast together, and that's why he only throws the Cooper Cup.
Okay, fair enough.
So I guess they share breakfast or something.
Okay.
Whatever that means. I don't know if they are coming from the same place for breakfast or they woke up in the same play. I don't know, but Huntley targeted Mark Andrews, I think, every single play last year.
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to end the year, I don't know. I don't know how many of these games Lamar played just off the top of my head, and I'm not going to take the 10 minutes to find out. But the last several games of the year, he had 10 targets, 9 targets, 11, 13, 10, 6, and 15. And Huntley played a good percentage of those games. Again, I'm not going to go through every game log and find out exactly how many, but Huntley and Andrews, that was a big target of mine towards the end of last season.
Yeah, so this is it.
Touchdowns with him playing too.
85, 89, 136, 115, and 73 in full games with Huntley last year.
There you go.
So what's that average? That's got to be higher than 55.5. There's the math there for you. He had his lowest yardage was 73. So I think mathematically means that it's going to be a little over that 55.5. So the Steelers aren't a great team overall. It's a close spread, and I honestly think I want to take it. I just hate knowing it was 51.5 and I missed out.
Yeah. I have a bad habit of I don't look at NFL props soon enough, so I missed out on that one. I didn't even know.
Yeah, I probably take it either. I probably take it.
73 is almost 100.
I don't know if this is so funny, but do you know Fast Money Labs on Twitter?
Uh-huh.
He just DM'd me saying, "Dude, I think I'm an idiot, but what are your thoughts on Josh Jacobs' under?" So I feel good because it's not just me. All right, that's all I wanted to say.
And it's funny because he knew the person in the message too.
Yeah. When everyone wants to bet on either DeAndre Ayton or take an under, I swear they always DM me, and like, I don't know. It's funny to me that my DMs are very selective. No one's ever like, "Hey, what are your thoughts on, this really sexy player that like is really like, appealing?" No one ever does that. Like, no one's like,
"Oh, what do you about Trey?"
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Trey Young? Or if they were taking the under, they would ask me. But yeah, the Trey Young at the Garden thing, it's dead, isn't it? Everyone, it's back to back now. He doesn't care about the Garden. Oh, did we lose Ryan? That's so funny. Hey, Tony, that's not me, right? Ryan's gone.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Oh, this is so funny. Ryan's gonna be right back. All right, we should end the show before Ryan gets back. But yeah, if anyone was interested, like, I don't know if anyone in the chat was on Trey Young, but the Trey Young in the Garden last 2 games, I swear, was the most important play of the night, and both times he just flopped. I don't know what it is. I don't think Trey Young likes guarding anymore. He's just a lolly. Oh yeah, now on both screens. This is funny. Is this because he left?
Yeah, it's just because he left. I'm gonna fix it for you. Don't worry.
Nah, this is fine. I'm just gonna move on to the pick up popular plays. I can run a show with that, Ryan. Honestly, sometimes Ryan talks about too much nonsense. Well, when I'm trying to stay on task, you know. That's usually how the show goes. Where I'm like the straight guy. I'm the straight figurehead there. We're gonna move on though, because I do want to do the pick up popular plays. So, as we wait for Ryan, we're gonna discuss the top plays presented by Pickett Sports. Actually, now I'm just gonna wait for Ryan because now he's connected. There's Ryan. We were gonna move on to the pick. Yeah, we're gonna move out.
Here the whole time.
I was telling the people though, it was kind of nice not having you because usually you take me off task. Usually I'm so focused on the show and being on task, and then you derail it.
That's exactly how that goes.
Yeah, we were just finishing up about Trae Young, where it's funny that he was at the Garden yesterday, which was supposed to be his big thing. Murray got hurt within 3 minutes, and Trae still didn't do anything.
Yeah, I had Murray props, of course.
I will say, I don't get the refund thing. You know, I don't get why sometimes they refund things and sometimes they don't. I don't think they should refund anything. Like, I do believe that it's just like that's part of the game. If something happens, it happens. But it's like, I don't know if you remember early on in the NFL season, Sunday Night Football. I forget who it was. It was it was T. Higgins. T. Higgins rolled his ankle in like the second drive and didn't play, and then they refunded all the bets. The next day, I had Darren Waller props, and then he hurt his hamstring on the second snap of the game and didn't play the rest of the game. They refunded Higgins and not Waller. I
think it's just level of outrage. They just respond to the level of outrage.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what that is. Like, I don't know why they pick and choose. They just set themselves up for failure because they don't have to void anything. And if they didn't, I think it would have just died down. But the fact they void some things, now every time something happens, it's just like an outrage of a bunch of shit on Twitter and everything else.
I sit in the in our like NBA chat and in our Discord, and I always feel really bad. I try to be really kind and respectful to everybody, but there's always like 10 people that jump in, like they're gonna avoid Murray, right? And it's like, have you ever seen the SpongeBob meme where it's Mr. Krabs and he's like, how do we tell him? Like that, that pops up often. Like it's an ugly scene because it's just like as soon as Murray got hurt and I heard he was out for the game, like there's no way they're gonna refund this. And there's always like 10 people that hop in like they're gonna refund it, right? Like
and then like I saw with like Anthony Davis to refund things, and people are commenting on our FanDuel's post saying, what the fuck? Like, why isn't it a void? Why is it just free bets? I want like my money back. And I'm like, dude, they didn't have to do anything. Like, just take the free bet and move on. Like, I'm sorry. I feel for people, but it's just one of those things where you're not even being like, hey, thanks for giving me the free bet back on a bet I just shouldn't have even happened. But I do miss credit. I do agree with Tony that FanDuel moving off credit sucked, but it's just, I don't understand the idea of complaining when they actually are doing something nice. But someone mentioned that the precedent is set, and I agree. It's it's a slippery slope. It just, you can't be half in. You either have to be that guy or not be that guy. You can't be doing this half and half thing.
What I wouldn't mind, since it's so sporadic and random, and like I said, I think it's purely just a response to the outrage, the level of outrage. The main thing that I wouldn't mind if they refunded is like boost, because Davis wasn't a boost that night. I think that might kind of come into play here a little bit with their decision making. If a guy's in a boost and he gets hurt, like, or the flu 8 minutes into the game, which is bullshit, by the way, but I can kind of see that, but I don't really blame people for asking for the refund. I mean, it's an odd precedent was set, like you mentioned, like somebody in the chat mentioned. It's just it's an odd spot. It's a weird topic, I suppose.
Yeah, someone in the chat says like with the precedent, if you give them an inch, they ask for a mile, which is true. That's what happened on your wedding night, right? It was you give them an inch. And they're like, what?
Hey man,
That
give me, don't take that away from me.
1.7 inches. I measured it last night. Yeah, Ryan is very
Well,
particular.
hey, 1.7 is almost 2.
If you round up.
If
But
you're
yeah, that's really what it is. It's a marketing thing. It's just like I get that it's like it's good marketing to do a refund, but then again, it gives you bad press every time you don't do it. So it's like I said, it's really interesting how they handle things. But I guess with the free bets on FanDuel now, it's almost like not really giving a refund because you give people free bets. Like over half of them aren't gonna turn them into like actual money. They're just gonna use it on something crazy like 6 first baskets and
yeah, I'm
then
guilty of that for sure.
oh yeah, but
I do stupid shit with free bets.
I agree, but yeah, so it's a topic that I think it's interesting to bring up, but yeah, it's to the point where I was on Davis's under that night, and then when he got hurt, someone commented and it was like, "Oh, it doesn't matter." Like I said, I count it as a win. The guy's like, they're just gonna say they're gonna mark it as a did not play. I don't know why you did that, and I was like, they can refund whatever they want, but either way, the bet wins. Like they're not gonna take away the money from an under. Like that's the point. Like that's like
the
one of the
beauty of an
benefits of
under.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but we can move on now to the Pickett popular plays. To talk about, yeah, I guess it's all gonna be football. There's not really many basketball props out. So
Yeah.
the 3 most bet players on Pickett Sports is number 1 in an overwhelming fashion was Justin Herbert, which I guess is because you know what? Justin Herbert is we're gonna skip over Justin Herbert. The reason Tone Stamp, I just remember this. He doesn't play tonight, obviously. The reason there's no props there is I think he's the most popular player only because Prize Picks has him as a boost. Like Prize Picks has him as like over 0.5 passing yards, so he's paired with everything else. So we're skipping over Justin Herbert. That's why he has so many picks.
I was so confused when I was looking at that.
He's one of those. That just hit me. He's one of those free squares. So we're gonna reset this. The Pickett popular plays tonight, starting off, is number 1, the guy we kind of touched on, Davante Adams, who I think he should have a great game tonight. I think his catches are 7.5, which is funny to think about because that's such a high number. But for guys like him, it's very hittable. And we touched on it before. I do see a game script where even though they might be leading, I think they're going to pass a lot tonight, which leads to a lot of opportunities for guys like Matt Collins, who I know you're on, and Davante Adams. I just think this is a team that they're totally comfortable throwing the ball. They've run it a little bit more the last few weeks, but against this defense, it's really stout against the run. I think this is a game for Derek Carr to just sling it to some of these guys, and his number 1 option should always be Davante Adams.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I see it. I mean, I don't really have many hesitations about Adams here. I talked quite a bit about Jalen Ramsey early in the show, but like, I don't even really. He used to be like, this wide receiver 1's going up against the Rams. Like, I would kind of just throw that up to the side. Like, all right, I'll find something better. Like now, it's just like I don't really care about that anymore. And Adams, anyway, probably would have been one of the exceptions. Doesn't matter who the fuck's covering him, dude. Adams is always going to be a great option. And the Raiders on the road are really, I mean, they're 2-5 away. I know this Rams team's all beat up, but I don't really see a blowout coming into play.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams upset, honestly. I don't know if I fully buy into the Raiders. I'm not saying the Rams are going to win because they still have insert quarterback. Is it Woodford tonight, or
we won't know until warmups apparently.
Yeah, it's
Baker Mayfield could start if
there's just no way. Like there's no way the National Football League you sign on a team and like the next day you play. There's just no way.
They said he's caught up on the game plan. I don't know.
Dude, if that happens, I'll probably just like retire from everything in this space because there's just like it's such an intricate game, and you're you're the field general. That seems like a recipe for disaster. Crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely insane. I guess if he's caught up on the game plan, then the game plan is to hand it to Cam Akers 35 times.
Yeah, that's
not
fair.
The only thing. But so Adams, obviously it's Davante Adams. I mean, you don't really have to be a sharp capper to know he's just a fucking monster, dude. It doesn't really matter the matchup. I don't think this will get out to be like a 28-0 and Raiders stop throwing at any point.
3-7, 7-3 game. 7-3.
I hope not. JD. Oh, never mind. I'm not going to say that. Never mind.
Is he doing his
Move
thing?
on.
Of course.
He had a play that I was just about to leak, but I'm not going to do that.
Well, JD's fine. He's a part of us. But the next player is Josh Jacobs, my mortal enemy for one night and one night only. I actually like Josh Jacobs, except for 3 hours later tonight. I'm gonna have to hate on him. But the good news is the most bet thing for him is anytime touchdown score, which I actually don't hate at all. I mean, obviously, if they're in
odd stuff, but
yeah, if they're in the red zone, he's always a threat to score. But there's a lot of love on his receiving yards a little bit, and also his first touchdown score. So more of the handle is on him to score, which I could totally see. We talked about last week though. Anytime a guy's negative odds to score, it's a big stay away spot for me, especially this year with how touchdowns have been. The negative odd guys aren't even scoring at 50%. So if you're paying 150, like a 150 for juice, and you're not even getting an even odds return out for these kind of prop types, I just don't see it.
Yeah, not paying myself.
So I guess some people laddered his rush yards to over 100. I can see that. I mean, I could see the love. I just think this is a tough matchup for him. I don't see him having too much success. And if he does, I really hope it's on like an 80-yard run, just so I can give up and go to bed early, you know.
There you go.
But so this is one I kind of agree with the Pickett plays. I figured Josh Jacobs.
Good Lord.
Yeah, that was a tough one. I was looking at Devontae Adams' name, but yeah, I feel like Jacobs would be a popular play, but I'm definitely gonna fade him. And I was actually hoping that he'd be popping enough to drive his number up, but some books are falling down to 86.5 and 87.5. So I was hoping to get to that 90 plus, but some bookmakers are dropping them down. So I'm happy taking the under at 89.5.
And then number 3 is your boy Derek Carr. We touched on this a pretty decent amount. You kind of favor his overs here. I kind of favor just the game script not really being as big of a factor as people may consider. I don't really see that the Raiders on the road are not good. Their pass defense is really bad. So whether it's John Wolford or, I mean, whoever the hell they start, I think the Rams can still stay enough in this game that Carr, it's not like he's going to not throw the last like 20 minutes of the game, in my opinion. I like Carr props, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Plus also the Raiders are good enough to play the game where they can have those, those bubble screens that are basically handoffs in a way to still keep the clock moving, but they like to use those receivers in that way.
Yeah.
So all 3 popular players are Raiders. So I guess everyone's on the Raiders tonight. So
I think the Rams quarterback situation just creates such a. It's
such a weird thing.
Yes. If we knew who the quarterback was, and it might not matter, I kind of have been debating just taking it anyway. I do like Van Jefferson's over. He's way down this list. He's like 12 or something. Van Jefferson's over is pretty intriguing. I mean, he's wide receiver 1 against DVOA wise, pretty arguably the worst pass defense in the league. He's going to get 100% of the snaps. I know whoever throws to him is not going to be very talented, but books are asking for 37 yards. It's really intriguing to me. I don't know why the hell I'm talking about it. He's like 12th, but
no, Van Jefferson.
He's on the Pickett popular player list at least. So I just wanted to go
best
down.
Name, one of the best names in sports. Van Jefferson. What's his first name? No, like that's it's Van Jefferson. Yeah.
I just wanted to discuss a Rams player to some degree.
I could see that. No, I could. Nothing really surprises me on this list, but I am on the under for Josh Jacobs there. So that's basically. I mean, that's all we really had for the show. Do you want to just kind of give a rundown of you just have the one? We have 2 props, so you want to just recap your 2 props? And then
sure. So for Thursday Night Football, I have Mac Hollins over 45.5 receiving yards. That's minus 115 on DraftKings at the time of my taking. I haven't double checked during the show, but I can't imagine it's too far off in any direction if it did move. And then I went Anthony Simons over 22.5 points, which is minus 115 on DraftKings.
And then my 3 props, or I'll start with the one on Sunday as a look ahead, is Daniel Bellinger, one-eye Bellinger, over 18 and a half receiving yards against the Eagles. Tonight, I'm on, as Ryan would say, Joe Kick, Mr. Joseph Kick.
Mr. Joseph Kick, yeah.
Nikola Jokic taking his all of 20+ points combined with 8+ assists. It's plus 120 right now on FanDuel. I like that look. And I'm also taking 1 unit on Josh Jacobs under 89.5 rushing yards. If you need to clinch for that one, do it. But I do think it's a tough matchup for him. So those are what we have today. And I think that's all we have, right?
Yeah, indeed.
Do you want to sign us out?
Yeah, this is another edition of Ryan and Brian Talk Sports, which is brought to you by Pickett Sports, as well as our new sponsor, Props.cash. 2 just tremendous apps. Pickett, I mean, it's where your friends and your bets live. I mean, so I like a lot of the features that Pickett has. You can see what your friends are betting. You can track your bets. It's a really good thing for bankroll management. I love their calendar that you can kind of see, how you did each day of the month. And then Props.cash is just, I mean, it's revolutionary stuff. I probably don't even need to talk that up too much. I mean, it kind of speaks for itself. I mean, it's visually appealing. And then it's just, there's so many statistics in one place to make it accessible. I couldn't say enough good things about Props.cash. It's something I've been using for 19, 20 months now. So we appreciate everybody tuning in.
I like how you talk at months. You could have just said 2 years, but you're talking months.
No, 20 months, man. We're rocking with the months.
Yeah.
We appreciate it, everybody. It's this has hopefully been way more fun than working. So I guess it's about that time to open up your laptop and get back to work. Thanks.